Hello everybody, welcome back to Agada for the second round of the EMX250 European Championship. Race 2 about to get underway here. Race 1 was already yesterday, but the sun is still out, similar temperatures to yesterday. The track got prepared overnight, just the jump faces, some of the bumps and holes were left. More water went down on the track though overnight, so we already saw from WMX Race 2 slightly earlier how different the conditions were. Not sure if they've put water on the track since, because we've had MX2 and MXGP warm up. We've just had the sighting laps, the 3 or 4 sighting laps that EMX250 will do ahead of their second race. If you're joining us for the first time on MXGP TV, well then a very warm welcome here from Portugal. My name's Paul Malin, and we are live as always from the venue, as we are each and every round of the European and FIM Motocross World Championship. Good crowd in today, good to see as well. Yesterday we were probably about a third capacity, but everyone's coming in. They've been starved and deprived of EMX and FIM Motocross World Championship action over the last 3 years or so, 2 years. Here's how the riders line up. Cornelius Toondell on pole on the Fantic factory team Maddie machine. Rick Elzinga, Hutton Mattal Yamaha. Then we've got Sascha Koonen, Jumbo Husqvarna BT Racing, Håkan Osterhagen, Marcel Stauffer for Sturm STC Racing KTM. Eddie Wade, 9mm Energy, Bud Racing Kawasaki. Then Camden McLennan on the TBS Convergence KTM. And then the rest of the guys, Mikko Vetic, Andrea Bonacorsi, Jorgen Matthias Talviku, and the rest. 40 riders on the grid, a couple of reserves as well. But yesterday, race 1 was a comfortable win for Rick Elzinga. He arrived here as a championship leader with a 4-point advantage over Cornelius Toondell, the number 44 on the Hutton Mattal Yamaha here. He took the lead from Mikko Vetic on lap 2, and from there he was never headed. Camden McLellan came home in second, Lucas Koonen third, Marcel Stauffer and Cornelius Toondell there, 302. He came home 5th, but he hit the gate. There were about a half a dozen riders hit the gate at the start of the race. He, his teammate Håkan Fredriksson, Håkan Osterhagen. There was 2 or 3 others in there as well. So he had a fantastic first lap, though, did Cornelius Toondell, because he came round 16th at the end of the first lap, and then he carved his way through to that eventual 5th place. And he'll be looking to make amends here in race 2. Sascha Koonen, fantastic to see him on the scoreboard. But Lucas Koonen, who didn't score in the first round, finishing 3rd, number 93. Number 19, Lucas Koonen was one of the Sascha Koonen was one of the riders that got caught behind the gate as well, but he eventually came home in 22nd position. Andrea Bonacorsi, he'll be looking to make amends as well. Finished 18th in the first race. He did crash, though, on lap 2, down from 7th place to 17th, 18th, and then he had another wobble around about the midway point when he was in 13th position. So Bonacorsi will also be looking to make amends in this second race. Let's give you the top 10 then from race 1. Rick Elzinga, Camden McLellan, Lucas Koonen, Marcel Stauffer, Cornelius Toondell, your top 5. Then we had Oriol Oliver, Guillaume Perez, Max Spies, David Braceras and Mikko Vetic, who actually finished 5th but was docked 5 positions because of noise. He failed a noise test after the race. The Fly Racing 15-second board up for the final time this weekend then for EMX250, race 2, 25 minutes plus 2 laps. We're in Portugal at this Agada circuit. A nice wide start straight and equally wide first turn. There is Elzinga, your winner from race 1, number 44. But Toondell up the inside, everybody clean away this time around, but not such a good jump. It is Håkan Osterhagen who bursts into the lead through that first turn, and already distance between himself and the chasing pack through the first couple of corners. There's Elzinga in about 5th place, just pulling a tear. 4th place, he drops downhill. Toondell just behind him in red and looking to run him wide at the bottom of the hill. Don't see any yellow flags, so everybody's safely through there, but how much longer? Oriol Oliver just tried to get into the back there of the Toondell, but round the outside, Mikko Vetic on the 250 KTM tries to find his way past the 312 of Håkan Osterhagen and does so for the lead on the opening lap. Elzinga perfectly placed in 3rd position. Toondell just behind him in 4th place. Those two 1st and 2nd in the championship, 3rd and 4th on this opening lap at the moment. Guillaume Perez around about 6th place. Camden McLellan in 7th. Oriol Oliver, Stauffer, Bonacorsi, they are all inside the top 10. Then we've got Talviku, Martinez, Eddie Wade in about 13th. Braceras, Latta, Prunier, Wesley Dudon, Max Spies, Dave Koika, and Eric Thomas, or Thomas, as Elzinga carves his way up the inside, and Kuhnen is down. So the number 19 of Sascha Kuhnen down on the opening lap. Not what he would have wanted, of course. But working our way towards the end of this first lap. Miko Vetik leading the way, but Elzinga now up into second position. The two Fantic Maddie riders, third and fourth, with Tundell now finding his way past his teammate. Moving into that third place. So Tundell trying to follow and match Rick Elzinga, who's directly ahead of him here. This is second and third, championship leader and second overall in the championship. The 44 and the 302. Elzinga very silky smooth yesterday, very efficient, and a comfortable win for the Hudson Mattal Yamaha rider. But the 302 of Cornelius Tundell, the Fantic factory team Maddie rider, had to work hard through the field throughout the whole race. By the time he got to that sort of fifth place or sixth place, he was handed fifth as a result of Miko Vetik just failing that noise test at the end of the moto. By the time he got there, though, to that sixth place, Tundell, these guys were well and truly disappeared at the head of the field. But Miko Vetik, a fast starter yesterday, he led for the first lap. He stayed in second for the next 7 laps before gradually slipping down the order. So fading in the second half of the race, did the Estonian. But Vetik leads. Elzinga second, the rider in red in third place, Cornelius Tundell. Then Osterhagen, his teammate, fourth. Bonacorsi up to fifth place. Oriol Oliver in sixth. Ferrez 7, Stauffer 8, McClellan 9, but Lucas Kuhnen just finding his way past the South African on the TBS Conversions KTM. And Talvico also going past Lucas Kuhnen, so I'm not sure if he got ran wide there by McClellan, sorry. Oh, Elzinga, chuck it in, man. Good job, he's got long legs. Anyway, over the line, 2 laps complete, 2.5 seconds separate the first 3 riders. There they are, Miko Vetik, Rick Elzinga, Cornelius Tundell. Put the flag out now, Elzinga, Vetik, Tundell on the podium. Lucas Kuhn and Camden McClellan would round out the top 5, but as you can see, 21 minutes plus 2 laps to go in this second EMX250 European Championship race. A long way to go to determine the overall outcome. Ferrez up to 5th place, Oliver 6th, Bonacorsi has lost positions. He's now in 7th position. As his teammate, Rick Elzinga, just starting to look interested as he chases down the 6.51 of Miko Vetik just ahead of him. So this will be a battle for the lead. Cornelius Tundell just not quite staying with him, just a couple of tenths here and there, last couple of corners, but he has managed to pull some of that back, though, because he's just gone fastest in Sector 2, the rider in red. So are we getting to the point where Miko Vetik already is just starting to wind the tongue out here and fade a little bit, because these two definitely closing in on him, and Rick Elzinga just needs to be mindful of the fact that if he gets caught too long behind Vetik, that may just open the way for Cornelius Tundell to go from 3rd and maybe into the lead with 1 clean sweep, but Elzinga denied here. Still pushing hard, though, at the end of this 3rd lap is the Dutchman. Elzinga was fastest on track last time around, a 1:52, 1:95, half a second quicker than the guy he's chasing down. He's considerably quicker again this time around. Vetik sets the fastest lap, and then Tundell goes even quicker, 1:50.9. 1.4 seconds, and Elzinga does nip up the inside. Takes over the lead on lap 4. And Tundell looking to go through as well. He may just lean on the Estonian. The big Norwegian, though, buries the rear wheel in that dirt, goes wide around the outside, looking for a way through here as Vetik looks to counter. And he does go back around the outside of Elzinga, but Elzinga just shuts the door in his face, gives him nowhere to go, maintains the lead. Good responses from Vetik, though. 6.51 in the light colours around the outside on that KTM. Not happy at being pushed back into second position. Believes he can still maybe win this race, but not sure if it was just arm pump yesterday in the first race, but he's definitely come out swinging in the second one. Osterhagen about 4.5 seconds further back. Coming back towards us now on that double in the opposite direction. He's in fourth. Guillaume Ferrez on the F4E. Gas. He's in fifth. Oliver 6. Bonacorsi 7. Talviku 8. Lucas Kuhnen 9. Stauffer 10. Camden McClellan, who was second in race 1, struggling here in the early stages of race 2, down in 11th place. Iago Martinez is in 12th place. Then we've got Prunier next in 13th as Tondel looks and should succeed. Vetic tries to squirt back down the inside, and he does. Oh, and he just catches the front end of Tondel at the bottom of the hill. The big Norwegian doing well to stay up, but he just lost vital ground. Watch this. Got back out of the turn early, jumped a little bit longer down the hill, squeezed the door. Tondel wasn't expecting that. 4 laps complete then. He only probably lost about 3/10 in that as well, because they've gone from 1.4 to 1.7 apart, the first 3 riders, since the last lap. Again, Tondel looking for that momentum, that slingshot around the outside at the bottom of the hill there, the penultimate turn. This is the final turn on the racetrack before heading back up into turn 2. Bit more of a work rate required from Rick Elsinger in this one then. Yesterday was more of a walk in the park, but he cannot relax here at the moment, because Mikko Vetic, Cornelius Tondel, absolutely making sure that the Dutchman does not get let off the hook too easily this time around. Slight bobble there on the front end as he came into land. Looked like he landed in a hole there, the race leader. Håkan Osterhagen 4 seconds adrift in 4th place. Still got Ferrez, Oliver, Talviku, Bonacorsi, Kuhnen and Stauffer up to 10th. McClellan 11th. Circuit just drying out. Very similar conditions to what they would have had yesterday, although there'll be a few more ruts now, as you can see in these corners where the track got ripped heavily overnight, watered a little bit more than they had yesterday. So just a little bit more line choice in which the riders can get their wheels into to try and effect a move, as Tondel once again tries to find his way through, but realizes if he makes the double at the top of the hill, he's going to slam clean into the side of Vetic, so decided to jump short and suck it up on the landing. Still no way through. A couple of 2-strokes here, by the way. KTM and Fantic. 252 strokes in 2nd and 3rd, Mikko Vetic and Cornelius Tondel. Tondel a race winner in race 2 in Lombardy at the opening round, but this time makes the pass stick, goes into 2nd as Vetic almost hits the eject button through the front door. Not sure if he just grabbed the front brake and hit a boggy patch, or if he caught the top. Watch this here. Did he get squeezed to the inside? The rider over on the right-hand side, I think it was just a boggy patch, wasn't it? Just folded there, look. So Tondel now to 2nd and going after the 44. He's got clear track, hasn't got to worry about Mikko Vetic anymore. $15 minutes plus 2 to go. EMX250 race 2. This will determine the outset or the outcome on the podium. Elsinger looking at going 1-1 at the moment. The rider with the yellow arms on that Hutton Metal Yamaha. He arrived here as a championship leader, hence the red number plate on the front of that blue machine. Cornelius Tondel, who was 2nd overall at the opening round, looking to go 2nd overall this weekend as well, with a 5th and potentially 2nd, or even if he wins the race, he will still be 2nd overall. Coming into this one, Rick Elsinger held a 13-point advantage over Cornelius Tondel. It was 4 at the start of the weekend, so he'll be extending that to 17 as it stands right now. And he sets the fastest lap of the race, though, does Cornelius Tondel, so he's definitely getting his claws into the Dutchman ahead of him, Rick Elsinger. 1.1 seconds between them. These two, the standout performance in EMX250 would appear at the moment. keeping an eye on Håkan Osterhagen, though, in 4th place. He has closed down on Mikko Vetic, a 151.7 compared to a 53.7 of Vetic. So Håkan Osterhagen looking at banging on the doors for a top 3 position in this second race. He got a 3rd in race 2 in Lombardia, along with a 4th place that got him 3rd overall. But a tough race 1 yesterday where he hit the gate, couldn't come through like his teammate, finishing 17th. Drops him down to 6 in the championship standings. But Rick Elzinga leading comfortably again, despite the threat of attack from Cornelius Tundell. So around the outside, this is the final turn. So Koonin finding his way past Oriol Oliver, so Talvico, sorry, up into 7th place. Rider down, Perez. Perez out of 5th place. He was closing in on Håkan Osterhagen. Oriol Oliver goes through, so too does Talvico. So Perez out of 5th place. The F4E, Gas rider. Just losing the front end right where he didn't want to. Very much in the thick of the battle there. So 12 minutes plus 2 to go. Still about 1.567 seconds between these two. A couple of tenths here or there. Elzinga continues to lead the way. Tundell 2nd, Vetic 3rd, Håkan Osterhagen 4th, Oriol Oliver now up into 5th, Lucas Koonin 6th, Talvico 7th, Stauffer 8th, Perez picking himself up in 9th place. And then 10th for Camden McClellan, Quentin Prunier, 9mm energy drink, Bud Racing Kawasaki is in 11th place, ahead of Andrea Bonacorsi, Max Spies. So Spies, the Schmika Racing KTM rider, down in 13th, then Koika, Lugana, Martinez, Andrea Rossi, Max Poulsen, David Braceras and Wesley Dudon. Mewison just outside of the points in 21st place. So while we look at our race leader and potential overall winner dropping downhill, Rick Elzinga just looking at Camden McClellan in 10th place with that 2nd position in race 1 yesterday. Finds himself 3 more passes. He could be on the podium here, but he's been parked there in sort of that 10th, 11th for the whole race. I'm not going to say impossible, but 61 points, so yeah, he needs 3 positions really, because where he is, he's only getting a point per pass. 3 positions, so yeah, he'd need to make 4 passes really, because he'll be tied with Vetic otherwise. Ten minutes to go. Still nothing in it between 1st and 2nd in the race, 1st and 2nd in the championship. Rick Elzinga and Cornelius Tundell staying out of the deeper ruts. Your race leader through that 2nd turn, stepping up into turn 4. Ground falls away here. It's a bit more off-cambered as well on the outside. Kind of have to ease onto the gas. You try pushing too hard, the front can just tuck away on the exit. Good response though, this. Sector 2 is going to be a good one. Oh, it is, and it's the fastest of the race. A 26.6 compared to a 27.3. All of a sudden, Elzinga has found another gear. So now up to Tundell to do something. Just keeping an eye on that McLennan. McLennan now in a 9th place, so maybe the crew down there heard us in pit lane, just telling him to get a hurry up. Back markers on the horizon for your race leader. Back marker knows he's there as well. Took a quick look over the shoulder. At least he's mindful of what's happening around him. So the 141, Afonso Gomez, one of the local riders, managing to sneak in through the qualifying process. The gap between the first two, though, 2.1 seconds now. Is that the break that Elzinga needed? Just to put the distance between himself and Tondel, to force the issue by the Norwegian to up his game, to try and close down that gap, and then risk making a mistake. And then, just as we say that, he pulls 4/10 back on Elzinga through sector 1. So from the finish line up towards turn 2, just over that first crest. And then from there to about now-ish, sector 2, 26.8 for your leader, 27.2. So again, these two back and forth. Meanwhile, third and fourth place, Mikko Vettik and Håkan Osterhagen here. 2 strokes, second, third and fourth. Tondel, Vettik and Osterhagen. Oh, we've got Wade Yellow's rider down just over the triple. It's going to hurt in the morning. Vettik. A much better performance from the Estonian this time around. Just a little bit untidy through there, though. Couldn't get the clean double through there. That's allowed Osterhagen to close in the background in that fourth place. Also having to deal with a back marker, Vettik. So didn't get the drive. Then half an eye on the rider ahead of him as well. Keep an eye on the splits between these two, 27.0, 26.4, so half a second thereabouts, 27.5, 27.6, 33.2, 3 and 5. So anyway, the overall lap time will be the determining factor between these two. Mikko Vettik, a 1:53.96 and a 53.4, so the gap just coming down ever so slightly. Not enough, though, at this stage. Oh, back end just getting a little bit out of line there. Number 26, Miguel de Waal, South African. So maybe joining the Camden McClellan and Calvin Verlanderen freight train in making the journey from the other side of the world to be here. Osterhagen, a much better performance this time around as Mikko Vettik speedway styles his way through that turn right on the infield part of the racetrack. Almost high-sided him out the side door. Very lucky to get away with that, but look how that has changed the gap between these two. All of a sudden, that slight mistake has allowed, watch this, gets on the gas, comes around on him and almost kicks him out the other way. He's put himself under pressure now, though. That's the problem. So third place being questioned all of a sudden as Håkan Osterhagen closes in on Mikko Vettik. Braking bumps at the end of the straight there and deep ruts just before that little single to the inside. Very grabby. Vettik already knows what it's like to be grabbed by the front end here, because as he lost that second place to Cornelius Tondel at the end of this next long straight, coming out of this next left-hander. Just caught a sinkhole, didn't he, as he dived into the inside of this left turn. Looks a lot cleaner through there now, though. Four minutes plus 2 to go. Meanwhile, Elzinga and Tondel, 1.8 seconds apart. Here they are. Been another fantastic ride for Rick Elzinga. Tondel may have been fastest in time practice to the tune of about 2/10, but Elzinga is the one that has picked up the mantle and ran away with it at the moment. He's a winner from race 1, lead in race 2, looking very comfortable at the head of the field as well. So far yet to face a serious challenge from Tondel, despite the Norwegian getting close on several occasions. He's not been able to get alongside and really put the Dutchman under pressure. "12 laps complete as they hit the line this time around. 1.6 seconds, so that gap being reduced by a couple of tenths. But how important was this? Clearing 2 back markers through that turn. That is going to play right into the hands of Elzinga by the time they get to the end of the straight. So this is sector 1 from the finish line right up into the entry point of turn 2. And this may be telling. And actually, final sector, Tondel took about 3/4 of a second out of Elzinga, so he was within that gap down, but a 26.4 and a 26.7, a costly time to catch back markers then for Tondel. All that work to do yet again. Meanwhile, Vettic still 3rd, Osterhagen 4th, Lucas Kuhnen 5th, Stauffer now 6th, Oliver 7th, Talviku 8th, Perez 9th, Prunier 10th, Spies 11th, Bonacorsi 12th, and McClellan, despite finding a couple of positions, is now faded back to 15th. So he maybe had a fall because he lost a half a dozen seconds or so. Ah, look at these two, Vettic and Osterhagen. What are you doing, man? Red mist coming down out of 3rd and 4th place, potentially Vettic and Osterhagen. But Osterhagen coming off worse there, bouncing his way down the track, did all the good work, get a good start. But Vettic not wanting to give up that 3rd place, and he told Osterhagen as much right there. So Osterhagen picking himself up in 10th, and Vettic still looks like he may have maintained that 3rd place. So Osterhagen will be kicking himself then, because 17th in race 1. Not the day he wanted in Portugal. Taking a quick look back here. Is that the 24 of Braceras? Oh, the 34 of Bogdan Krajewski of France. Good old Bogdan. Where is he? 31st place. And just behind him, the 49 of Mattia Duzi, the Ceres 71 rider. He's in 32nd place. Ah, bonjour, here we are. Vettic. So Vettic 4th, actually. Kuhnen up into 3rd. So Lucas Kuhnen, 3rd yesterday in race 1, 3rd again in race 2. He's going to find himself on the podium with 2 third-place finishes, 2nd overall. Going to edge out Cornelius Tondel by 2 points. So Vettic remounts in 4th place after that crash with Håkan Osterhagen. 2 to go. Elzinga 2.3 seconds clear now of Cornelius Tondel. How costly was it when he got caught behind those back markers a lap or so ago, and then who knows, maybe he got caught behind a couple more. But Elzinga responding to the challenge. He's done enough to stay ahead of the Norwegian throughout this race, and looking comfortable and looking almost assured of a 2nd race win, his 1st of all race victory in EMX competition. And he'll extend that championship leader's red plate as well, because he'll gain another 12 points on Tondel. Dealing with the back markers, that's what 2.5 seconds affords you. You don't have to rush your way through. You don't have to feel panicked. And Rick Elzinga in the perfect position at the moment. He'll leave here 16 points clear of Cornelius Tondel. It was 4 at the start of the weekend. Next round of the championship will be in Italy next week, Trentino. Or will it be Maggiora, actually? Yeah, Maggiora and then Sardinia. Rounding out the final turn to enter the final lap. Rick Elzinga, Hutton Mattal, Yamaha, a 151.7 that time around. Cornelius Tondel, by comparison, a 154.3, a full 5 seconds exactly between them as they head into the final lap. Elzinga riding the perfect race, just like he did in race 1. Lucas Kuhnen getting ready for him to come through over the line. He goes through, he's 32 seconds down off the leader, but 2 third-place finishes, going to be 2nd overall for Lucas Kuhnen. So Elzinga leading the way. Tondel has had to concede. But another immaculate performance from Rick Elzinga. He was victorious at the opening round in Lombardia. It's going to be back-to-back wins for the Dutchman here this weekend in Portugal. He will maintain the championship leader's red plate. He will extend his lead to 16 over 2nd place Tondel. Heading down past pit lane for the final time. 1 corner to go. And Rick Elzinga, Hutton Mattal's Yamaha, goes back-to-back, takes a double race win here. He wins the round of Portugal here at Águeda. And he does so by around 5 seconds as well, 4.7 seconds to be exact. Tondel 2nd overall. Lucas Kuhnen, when he hits the line, it'll be his first podium in EMX250. The rider who finished 3rd in the championship in 125s last year. Got 6 podiums last year, 2 of those winners at Trentino 3 and Mantova 2. So within the last couple of rounds. So good to see Lucas Kuhnen on the podium. The Jumbo Husqvarna BT Racing rider coming home 3rd in the race, 2nd overall in the Grand Prix, in the European round. He'll be absolutely ecstatic with that. So Elzinga, Tondel, Kuhnen, Lucas Kuhnen, Marcel Stauffer 4, Mikko Vetic 5th in the end. Stauffer finding his way through in the last lap or so. Oriol Oliveira 6, Guillaume Perez 7, Quinton Marc Prunier 8, Max Spies 9, and Jorgen Matthias Talvico coming on in 10. Here's Rick Elzinga, our round winner, with Lisa.
Rick Elzinga, congratulations. 1-1 to get the 2nd overall of the season. A pretty much perfect weekend for you.
Yeah. This feels great, you know. Really enjoyed riding in Portugal here. I've been riding really well, you know, just flowing, and really happy to be, you know, on the top spot of the podium. You know, hard work pays off, and it shows. And just a lot of thanks to Yamaha, Hutton, and also the people back home, MX250. I know you guys are watching, and I can't do it without you. Thanks a lot.
Great job. Thanks, Rick.
Rick Elzinga, Hutton Mattal, Yamaha, stands on the top step of the podium for the second time this year then. He was victorious at round 1 Lombardia with a first and a fourth. Goes even better this time around. 2 wins for the tall Dutch rider. He wins here in Portugal, maintains that championship lead, extends the lead to 16 points over his closest rival. Good job, Rick Elzinga and Hutton Mattal. Give you the official confirmation then as we have it. EMX250 race 2 finishes like this. Rick Elzinga, your winner by almost 5 seconds over Cornelius Toendal. Lucas Koenen getting third. Marcel Stauffer, Miko Vetic, Oriol Oliver, Guillaume Ferrez and Quentin Marc Prunier, with Max Spies and Jorgen Matthias Talviku rounding out the top 10. Then we got Andrea Bonacorsi, David Braceras, Thiago Martinez, Camden McClellan and Paolo Lagana, with Håkan Osterhagen remounting and finishing in 16th after his come to with Vetic. Then we had Max Paulsen, Andrea Rossi, Dave Koike and Eddie Wade poured himself into the points in the latter stages of the race. The overall victory belongs to Rick Elzinga. 2 wins out of 2 and an extension of his points lead over his rivals. Lucas Koenen gets his first podium in EMX250. Toendal on the box with him in third. And Stauffer and Oliver ran out the top 5. Unlucky for McClellan, but he'll have to make do with 6 overall this weekend. "16 points separate Rick Elzinga and Cornelius Toendal now. Oliver has moved up to third in the championship because of Vetic's sort of heated actions a couple of laps to go in the race. McClellan sits 5th. He gains a couple of positions as well, though, as a result of that. Talviku, Osterhagen, Stauffer ran out the top 8, with Braceras and Lucas Koenen now getting his first points of the season, moving up to 10th in the championship. And Yamaha lead the way in the manufacturer's standings, ahead of KTM, Fantic, Husqvarna, Kawasaki and GasGas. Almost ready for the podium then. So round 2 here in Portugal at Águeda. About a month on from round 1, where we were in Lombardia. The overall winner is the same, but a new person joining him on the podium this weekend. But third overall, a tough weekend for Cornelius Toendal. He's on the podium though. But the Fantic factory team Maddie rider would have been hoping for something different this weekend. Put himself on the back foot though with a tough first race yesterday. Good to see Lucas Koenen on the podium for Jumbo Husqvarna BT Racing Team. Second overall. But Rick Elzinga, Hutton Mattal, Yamaha Racing, the perfect day here in Portugal. Goes 1-1 and stands on the top step of the podium. Back-to-back wins now for the Dutchman.
Entregar o prémio ao terceiro classificado, Rodrigo Almeida, MXGP.
Third place for Cornelius Toendal. Rodrigo Almeida from NK, I guess fitting. Handing that third place to the Fantic Maddie rider, Cornelius Toendal. Lucas Koenen, Jumbo Husqvarna BT Racing Team, takes his second place trophy eventually from Paulo Silva from SC Vuga. His first podium in EMX 250 to go with the 6 that he picked up in 125 last year. On his way to third in the 125 European Championship. Felipe Almeida from Águeda Assembly President, handing the winner's trophy to Rick Elzinga. Winning becoming very much a habit for the Dutchman. Team manager Henk will take the winner's team trophy from Manuel Marinheiro from the FMP president. Good job, Hutton Mattal, this weekend. Eddie Hurd, the FIM Europe Motocross Commission president, on hand to deliver the championship leaders' red flag. It arrived here on the front of that Hutter Metal. It goes to round 3 with it still in the hands and on the bike of Rick Elzinga. Your top 3, Rick Elzinga, Lucas Koenen and Cornelius Tundal. The top 3 here this weekend, Rick Elzinga, Lucas Koenen and Cornelius Tundal. Henk Zanting, team manager, leaves before he gets doused in a little bit of fizz. But a fantastic day here for these 3 riders. On the podium for the first time in EMX250, Lucas Koenen, he can build from here, but Rick Elzinga leading the way in EMX250 over the guy to his right. Here's what happened, EMX250 race 2 here in Portugal. Håkan Osterhagen with a flyer. Edged out everybody through the first turn. Right behind him was Mikko Vetic, and behind him Lucas Koenen and Rick Elzinga. Cornelius Tundal a couple of positions behind. But the challenge for the lead came early as Vetic found his way past Håkan Osterhagen and into the lead. Rick Elzinga then found his way into second with that pass on the young Norwegian Osterhagen. His teammate, Sasha Koenen there, fell down on the opening lap. The lead changed hands here as Elzinga dived down the inside of Vetic. And then Cornelius Tundal found his way past Vetic into second, having already found his way past his teammate. Then Perez fell out of 5th place. He re-emerged in 9th. Battles going on further down the field. Oriol Oliver not having the same kind of race as he did yesterday, eventually coming home. Oh, that was the big crash though, wasn't it, between Vetic, yeah, and Osterhagen, giving him the Italian hands. Those two picking themselves up. But anyway, EMX250 race 2, the win belonged to Rick Elzinga. Just as it did in race 1, he stood on the top step of the podium with the perfect score here this weekend. Lucas Koenen on the podium, second overall with two third-place finishes. Tundal third, but Elzinga now extends his lead to 16. It was 4 at the start of the weekend. Tundal is now second. Oliver up to third, but your top 3 here this weekend, Rick Elzinga, Lucas Koenen and Cornelius Tundal. Of course, Rick Elzinga continues to lead as we head to round 3.
Rick Elzinga, congratulations. 1-1, second overall of the season. Comfortable win in that first race. Second race leading the way, but you really couldn't afford to relax. Tell us about it.
Yeah, the first race was just amazing. You know, just kept the field, controlled it. Felt like it was like a training session. Just doing my laps, just looking at lap times, and yeah, just really comfortable. Second moto as well, really comfortable. Had to push until the end because yeah, Tundal was quite close. But yeah, I held the gap consistent, so he didn't come close enough to make a pass or attempt to pass. And yeah, just too amazing to get my first 1-1. And yeah, just I can't thank everybody enough behind me. You know, just the hard work is paying off, and I just love it.
Great job, thanks, Rick.
You.
Second overall today, we have Lucas Koenen. Lucas, 2 third-place finishes, first podium of the season. It's a fantastic weekend for you.
Yeah, it feels so good to be in for the second time on the EMX250 and second overall. So I can't describe how happy I am. And I want to thank the whole team, everyone who helped me during this beginning of the season. And we keep going and looking forward to the next race.
Great job, thank you. Third overall today, we have Cornelius Tundal. Cornelius. Fifth in race one, a much stronger second race, P2. You've got your second podium. How are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling very disappointed with my weekend. I had a small crash in free practice and had some struggles with my neck. And then the first race, I obviously hit the gate. Very difficult to come through the pack, and I managed to fifth after one guy got a penalty. And then second race, just bad off the gate, and managed the first couple corners and stayed close to Rick pretty much the whole race. We came into some lap traffic, and it made it a little bit difficult the last laps. I just got to thank the whole team. They are doing an amazing job, and we are making progress for every day that's passing by. So disappointing weekend, but it's a long season, so I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, thank you.
Third overall, Cornelius Turndale, the Fantic Factory team. Maddie Ryder, not exactly what he was looking for, but put himself behind the 8 ball in race 1 yesterday after hitting the gate, and it was hard work from there. He did pick up 5th after, as he said, Mikko Vetic picked up that penalty for failing noise control, but even when he was in second position, he wasn't able to challenge Rick Elzinga in the way that he wanted. Great to see Lucas Kuhnen on the podium this weekend, though. The Jumbo Husqvarna BT Racing Team rider, who got a half a dozen podiums last year in 125 on his way to third overall in the championship, picking up his first visit to the box this weekend in round 2. All eyes, though, and nobody a match for Rick Elzinga, the Hutamattal Yamaha rider. A winner in race 1, a winner in race 2. He maintains the championship leader's red plate. He extends his lead from 4 to 16. Things are looking good for Elzinga and Hutamattal Yamaha. Overall winners here this weekend in Portugal. We're going to take a quick break. Join us in just over 45 minutes' time. When we return, it will be for MX2 Race 1. We'll see you then.